Hello everybody, I'm going to be doing another likeness tutorial. I went to go ahead and paint up the other one I had done previously of Marc Jansen, but I decided I didn't quite like the angle it was at. This straight on forward angle, it's really kind of boring. So I decided instead to do another tutorial because I'm going to be doing another sketch. So, and I could go a little bit more in detail of what I'm looking at, etc., etc. So, one of the reasons I like this picture better, the angle, is because you can see more of the volumes of the face. It doesn't look flattened out by virtue of being straight on. Straight on shots are usually not the best for caricature because it flattens out the features. So, like, you can't see the definition in the cheekbones necessarily, unless they really have a very defined uh, silhouette. But most of the time they don't. Like before, I just drew a simple oval. Whereas here you can see like the form sticking out a little bit, both up here by the cheekbone and then down here, and so it just gives a better overall feel for it. So once again, the picture itself is in Photoshop, but I'm actually using Sketchbook Pro to do the sketch. Now, one of the first things I'm going to draw is this. Instead of starting with an oval like I did before, I'm going to start with a straight line like this, which is this line, about this line right here. So that's my starting point. And let's see, we'll throw in the ear. Still kind of on the small side, so I'm going to still make it small. And then from the ear, follows the angle to the glasses, which actually goes right into the eyebrow. We'll just go up at the same angle. Not really, that's not much of an exaggeration at all. I pretty much went with about the same angle. And then straight across, which would be the glasses, the top of the glasses. And now it's time to start plotting where the face is. I mean, these are just rough guidelines. So I'm going to lower the opacity down. Let's see, so I still want it to be a narrow face, so if the glasses are coming up like this, the glass would end here. The eye would be about here, would be the eyeball. And so the other eyeball about there. And right around here is where the nose would be. Yeah, I think that's about right. Good enough, anyway. So now, on this, I'm also going to be doing a lot more exaggerated than I did my previous one. So here, that's the triangle that's made right here of the underside of the nose. And then, now for the top side. I'll shorten up the actual top of the nose. And then right here, we'll put the nostril. Another triangle. And there you go. Another one for the other side. Now we'll work our way down to the mustache. And here, it just follows the same angle of the nose and just comes out further. Still has that M shape. Just this time it's at a more of an angle. And I'm still going to be playing up this dip or interesting shape there. We're going to play it up a lot more. And then add in the chin. Now, right now, it doesn't have the best likeness. I'm gonna go ahead, flip that. Remember I told you I do like to flip fairly frequently. And now, like I said, I tend to get it skewed, so I think I have this part of the face a little too far over. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it. Let's see. There, I think that's working a little bit better. And then the outside of the face, you can see where that jaw, sorry, not jaw, that's not what I meant to say. The cheekbone comes out here. It goes in. Then his neck has this kind of interesting curve there, so it's like a wave. Whee. Then over on this side of the face, that out of the way. We have that line that we have of our guideline as the border. And it comes out slightly there. Curves back in. And then right about the bottom of the chin, it curves back out into the head towards the shoulder. Now, I didn't really add much of eyes yet. So, arch the eyebrow. Now, glasses tend to throw things off a little bit because, as you can see, it's indented more than it naturally is because of just the way the optics work. That's probably not the right terminology, but I'm pretty sure you get the gist. Now, I'm going to exaggerate the glasses as well. For glasses, I am going to do on another layer above this one, just in case I decide I want to move them around or whatnot. They go a little bit behind the nose. And I'm going to stretch them pretty far out. Because I can. And about the same on this side. Now you can't see it now, but I'm actually using my fingers to measure approximately how wide those glasses are. Naturally, you can't see it because I'm doing it on top of my screen. That way I can get the approximate correct sizing. And then down to my ear, which I never actually drew in. I just drew it on that rough placement layer, but I'll draw it in. Now, for the most part, I'm not really distorting anything. I'm just taking what I see and exaggerating the relationships among the features. So the ear I'm making a little bit smaller. This little part that dips out, I'm going to make that slightly bigger. If I see an almost triangle, I'll make it a triangle. If there's a form that's, close to a circle, I'll go ahead and make it a circle. And it's really your impression of things that's what's important. Follow this up and do the hairline. He has a kind of rounded forehead. So it's rounded to about here, but then it comes almost out more at a horizontal angle. So I'm just going to make that horizontal. So I'll play that up a little bit. And then center's head, his hair sprouts up on that side. And the same on that side. And I'll just make it up go actually higher than it really does. Now for the eyes. Whoops. Oh, that's right, because the eyes are on the bottom there. Why ain't that erasing? Ah, there we go. For some reason it wasn't. The pen wasn't being responsive and it wasn't erasing. Oops, hold on a second. So, now we gotta put in the eyes. But first I'm gonna re-mirror the canvas. You remember I mirrored it earlier, I'm gonna mirror it back. So image, mirror canvas, flip it back around, flip the reference around as well. Now sometimes I'll also flip upside down, but for this purposes of this I'm not going to. So let's see where we're at. Now, in the reference you see some space between the goatee and the edge of the face. I don't really have that here because I exaggerated this so much. It kind of pushed that off, and that's fine because if one thing gets bigger, something else is going to get smaller, and in this case that space just gets smaller to the point of non-existence. And that's perfectly okay. Now, the lips in this section look like they're still a bit too far this way. If you see, they don't line up to that point, which they really should. So either the nose is over too far that way, or this is over too far this way. And I'm going to say this is probably over too far that way. So let me adjust that. Yeah, that I think looks centered a little bit better. This is just shaded. This is the actual goatee. Throw in the back hair here. And here. And now, I still haven't done the eyes yet, so let's throw in some eyes. Now, in this photo reference, the eyes really aren't a lot to go on because they're very much in shadow. So they're not going to be detailed because I can't really see them. They're very, very shadowed. So put a circle in right about there. And then a corresponding circle right about. And then I'm not really going to exaggerate the eyes much at all because it's played up in the rest of the caricature. And since I can't really see the eyes, it's going to be kind of hard to exaggerate them because this, when I paint it up, this is all going to be in dark anyway. So in the sketch, there's really going to be not too much. I'm just going to rough in where it's going to be. There's nothing particular standing out about them because other than the fact that I can't really see them all that well. But if they were big eyes, then I would make them bigger. Small eyes, I'd make them smaller. Squinty, make them squintier. Basically, whatever you would use to describe the eyes to somebody else who wasn't looking at the person, that's what you want to play up. You know, so somebody who has bags under their eyes, give them bigger bags under their eyes. Because we tend to think or recall in caricature. We don't recall in portrait. You know, it's always, oh, you know, the guy with the big nose or the one with the giant mole on their face. And we exaggerate because that's just easier to get a mental picture of who you're talking about. Now, the part over his eyelids, this part here, does come down pretty far. Same with this side, that comes down like that. his skull has has definition here, right there. You can see the definition in the skull, and you can see the eyebrow ridge right here. So it gets lighter here, which, you know, since I'm working on white background, it's hard to tell. I mean, it's going to be hard to depict, but once I get into the paint phase, I'm definitely going to play that up. And this here, that's just shadow from the glasses. And same with that. Which, when I paint, I'm definitely going to paint that in. So now, if I was going to render just the sketch itself up any higher, what I would do now is, well, let me merge the eyes down with the rest of the level. I mean, with the rest of the layers. The only thing that's on a separate layer at the moment is the glasses. Now, I will lower the opacity of this layer, and then add another layer right on top, and this is where I'm going to sketch a little more detailed. I know I said in my prior one that I don't really go into detail in my sketches, and that's pretty true. I really don't for the most part. But for the hell of it, I'm going to do a little bit here. So I'm going to redefine this edge. And I'm just using the sketch underneath as a guideline. I'm going to shrink down my brush so I get a finer line. Or my pencil, I should say. I'm not using the brush tool at all. Not in this program. I still like this curve, so for the most part, I'm going to keep that pretty similar. And I'm just cleaning up, better defining my edges. And this is still going to be basis for a painting, so. But I do want to give myself a little bit better head start than I was. With my prior sketch. And then maybe tomorrow or the next day, or as soon as I get a free moment where I don't have other more pressing things to take care of, I will go ahead and do a painting demo. And I'll show you how to do it both if I was going to do it all in black and white, which is probably my preferred method. I prefer to do it black and white and then color afterwards. But I'll probably also show you how I would start if I was going directly into color. But predominantly I do it black and white first because it's easier to see your values that way. And even if I was going straight into color, I'd still have on top, I would have a colored layer filled with solid black. So that would just change the picture into black and white. So that way I can judge values, because value is far, far, far more important than color. Alrighty, so let's see, where was I? Flesh out this ear. And here we're just giving a little bit more definition to what we already have. I mean, I'm fairly happy with the sketch itself, at least for the moment. I may play up a little more exaggeration, like pop this ear out just slightly more, maybe. Make this part of the ear stick out. I mean, it's sticking out a little bit more here, so why not play it up even further and we'll just stick it out even more. I mean, caricature can be fun like that. Caricature certainly is not for the faint of heart. Like, so if somebody is very, very self-conscious, caricature is probably not what they should be getting. Because a good caricaturist is going to play up probably the part the person is most self-conscious about. So if you know somebody who's really self-conscious and they want to get caricature done, you're better off talking them out of it. Now, there are some caricature artists who will make them look however they want to look, but that really doesn't make the best artwork. I am not one for pandering. That being said, it probably is more lucrative to do so. Sorry about that, another alarm's going off. Now, work on the lips a little bit better, or I should say a little bit more. I'm going to play up these peaks here of the lips. Pretty sharp, so I'm going to make it even sharper. See how it curves rather sharp down that way? It's actually a little bit more gradual curve on this side. I can tell I'm starting my pen on my Wacom is starting to go. I need to replace that soon, so the eraser isn't quite as sensitive as it should be. Darken this in. Now put this piece of a little bit of hair in here. Put the goatee in. Here's the divot of the nose. And then right here, there's this like triangle patch of the mustache. So I want to make sure I capture that. And a corresponding one on this side. Makes up a triangle right there. Alrighty. Here's the mark of the bottom of the shadow. I'm going to make that go pretty deep. Because I do like the way that comes down. It adds interest to the face, for sure. See now, here this should line up with that, but I didn't quite line it up properly. Darken that hair. Just use some cross-hatching to darken this whole part of the face up. Especially where these eyes are. Yeah, in a future tutorial with a different person's face, one where the eyes are much, much clearer and they're not completely in shadow like they are here, I'll go through and do a better eye demonstration. But here they're kind of a little too dark to really get any detail. And it's not a very high resolution picture, so if I was going to even zoom in on the reference, it'd just get all pixelated. Alrighty, so I think for the purposes of this demonstration, this piece is done. And I for one, think it came out much more interesting than the previous version. I'm not going to worry too much about lighting or anything here, because that's more for the next section. We'll make this a little, the arch of this a little bit more arched. Let's see. All right, yeah, I think that's good for now. And we'll see you in my next section I might go and do the painting. Thank you for watching. Any questions, feel free, leave comments, ask away. Comments, suggestions, tips, all highly appreciated. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.